24/7 right the way through until New Year's Eve. That's still available on digital radio. It is good to be with you this evening. It's a Christmas special of the show and an opportunity perhaps just to reflect on the sporting year. And of course, we've been here every Monday night throughout 2024. And as always on Pure West Sport, we've covered some really good stories. We've heard some incredibly talented sportsmen and women and teams achieving success, and Pembrokeshire punching its weight on the world stage as well. So let's have some of your favourite memories of the sporting year. Give us some of your Pembrokeshire moments in particular, and some of your favourite national ones as well. And Fraser and Tom, if we kind of reflect on some of our favourite guests on this show over the last 12 months, we've covered some brilliant ones. And I think for me, I always like hearing from the Olympians and Paralympians. And this year, obviously, the Olympic Games and Paralympics were in Paris. And we had some great stuff going on. And Matt Bush was a gold medal winner, and he joined us on the show. And Fraser, that was an interview that I think will stick with me for a long time, because he was such a humble guy, but achieved something amazingly, didn't he?
Yeah, 2 annual highlights in one, actually, watching him win gold in Paris and then come on this show and be so down to earth and casual. Just like the guys, if he just come back from a kickabout in the park and had done pretty well, I think we had to actually tell him to go and get his gold medal where most people have it around their necks by the time they log on. So, remarkable achievement for him. So fantastic after what happened to him in the last 2 Paralympics as well. Had some brutal luck, so to finally get gold, and now he's targeting another gold, isn't he, in 4 years' time? So remarkable athlete.
And you wouldn't rule that out, would you, Matt, going on to do that again? And Tom, you met him, didn't you, at the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards? You proudly sent us the photo, didn't you? There it is for people watching on Facebook right now. You got to hold that Olympic medal and speak to him. And I think he really is a brilliant Pembrokeshire sporting ambassador. I think in terms of favourite guests on the show, Matt really was one of them. What else?
I'm excited to see what else he's going to medal in, because he's more than just the taekwondo, and he's already thinking about the training for 2 or 3 different sports off the back of it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And the pride in which some of these athletes have when they represent Team GB at the Olympics and Paralympics, I always feel that comes across really well when we speak to them on the show as well. And anything else, Fraser, that you'd like to mention in terms of people we've spoken to on this show and covered stories on?
Well, certainly locally, Ben, 2 big days, which ever since actually I left the Western Telegraph and changed my work in 2020, I hadn't been able to attend properly for 4 years now. I was able to attend both again this year in entirety, and that was the Harrison Bowl and the Senior Cup. And both great occasions, and reminded me just how special a days they are in Pembrokeshire sport. And the Senior Cup as well. Look, I've got a lot of friends involved with Goodwick United and Clarbeston Road as well. But to see Clarby win it was nice. We have to say that, given that Goodwick was such big favourites and league champions, and Clarby had gone so close before. And Matt Fox, who I'm good friends with, and actually coached my boy and did such a great job bringing him through at Halfcrest Academy. To see him emotional and elated afterwards, he deserves that. So very pleased for him. And Harrison Allen Bowl as well, because I think it was back in 2019. I was there when Joe Kidney dropped Adam James, which proved a crucial moment. Halfcrest went on to win the bowl, and you really thought Lorraine had missed their time that day. They had a great opportunity. They were in charge for most of the day, and you wondered, was this generation going to go down as nearly men? Because they've come close in, I think, a league title since. They'd lost the previous bowl final before that. Hafter's won to Cresselly, and to see them win it this year against Saundersfoot, I think it was Saundersfoot's first ever final. Great following they brought down, but to see Joe Kidney there at the end and get his team over the line and again be so emotional, that was really poignant for me, having seen what he went through 5 years ago when there were tears of a different type at the end, I have to say that. So fantastic to see that occasion go full circle for him. So 2 great days, and 2 I hope we can attend again next year, actually.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was good to see some different names, wasn't it, on those trophies as well, and the Pembrokeshire Senior Cup in the football and the Harrison Allen special tournaments in the county, no doubt about that. Tom, from your perspective, obviously you covered the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards heavily for Pure West Radio, and that occasion highlighted some of the brilliant sportsmen and women and teams and unsung heroes that we have.
Yeah, and of which there's many, and I've forgotten their name now, but Nayland, unsung hero. He's been affiliated with the club for 70 years, and just some of those characters, a bit like John James you talked about earlier, they are the backbone and that lifeblood of the club, and those values that go through the different generations. So that was incredible to talk to, but also sports that we don't really cover regularly, but looking at weightlifters and Helen Carrington going away and winning Commonwealth gold in South Africa, and then having to encapsulate that in the Sport Pembrokeshire Award show is fantastic. Still available on the catch up. But also I got to cover the UK Water Ski Championships in Nayland, which was something that I'd never seen before. And it's just great that we've got this playground of sport that other people want to come down and play in it. It's remarkable.
Yeah, that was a really good event, that wasn't it? And it was great for Pure West to be there as well. In terms of football, two really big stories, I think, with the Wales national sides. We should start with the women, actually, because Angharad James, of course, from Narberth, will captain the Wales women to the Euros next year. Fraser, how big a landmark moment is that for the women's side to finally qualify for a major tournament?
Huge, because of the generation who got so close and come up short so many times, and Harad was perhaps a perfect example of that. Such a great servant to Wales, over 100 caps, many more to come. Been fantastic for her country, but you would always have felt there was something missing from her career if she hadn't been part of a Welsh team that qualified for a major championship. People like Jess Fishlock as well, who were on the Last Chance Saloon, those players as well, you always felt it would have been hanging over them. And for Harad to not only be part of a team that gets there, but to do it as captain, fantastic for her. And historic. I hope they go to Switzerland and perform as well. But yeah, superb.
It's a tough group.
It is.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's amazing. I remember going to see them in the Rodney Parade. Must have been over 10 years ago, and see now that they're filling up these stadiums in Cardiff and over in Ireland as well. It's amazing just how far that game has gone, and the awareness that there are future generations that are saying, I want to play like Angharad James, which they didn't really have before unless you really looked for it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a small matter of Wales against England to come next summer, and it's a tricky old group that for all the sides involved, but it's going to be really good. Looking forward to the Euros. And then for the men's side, a local hero really has emerged under Craig Bellamy, who himself I think has been a real revelation actually since coming into the job. I think he's definitely exceeded everyone's expectations. But the player I'm talking about is Liam Cullen, and we've followed Liam really closely in the 4 years that we've been doing Pure West Sport, and I think we've really documented his ups and downs and his injury problems. He went out on loan, of course, to Lincoln, didn't he? But he's now emerged, Fraser, as a key player for Swansea, and actually going the same way for Wales. And you were there, weren't you, to see him score a brace for his country? How special was that?
Very, very, because I've seen so many times in Swansea shirt. I've had doubts about his Swansea future because of a lack of game time. And Russell Martin, as you rightly mentioned there, sending him on loan to Lincoln. He stayed patient. He's become a prominent player for club and country. And even, I think, ahead of that game against Iceland, there were slight doubts. There were people saying he works very hard in a Welsh shirt, but not sure he's going to get the goals we need to play the lone striking role up front. So it actually happened right in front of me where I was sitting and I was scrambling and couldn't get my phone out in time to get a decent photo of him celebrating. He was walking back to halfway twice by the time I got it. But great for him to get off the mark. It's a weight off his shoulders, and from what Brian Cullen, his dad, told us a few weeks ago, he's really enjoying playing under Craig Bellamy. So from being concerned, he's new contract at Swansea now as well. So from being concerned over his future at club level for sure, he's now a pivotal player and pivotal part of the Welsh and Swansea setup. So well done to him.
And do you see him staying in Bellamy's plans? I mean, those goals will have done him so much good, won't they? And built his confidence so much. He's gonna feature now, isn't he?
100%, yeah. And you look at his age, and then you look at the fact that how well he presses as well. And like you say, I think he fits into the style that Bellamy likes. Whether he be a regular starter in the months, years to come under Bellamy, I'm not sure about that. He has fluctuated with his side. He experimented a lot, and I think he is still finding his best 11. So there will be other options there. But in terms of will he be part of his long-term plans, 100%.
Oh, it's great to hear, and it's good to see, and hopefully Liam will continue to flourish in 2025. And just one other one I'd mention as well, in terms of people we've spoken to on this show, and he was honoured at the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards as well. Sam Coleman came on, didn't he?
Yeah.
He became part of Team Brady,
Mm.
winning the all-electric boat racing, the E1 World Championship. The series was incredible, places like Monaco and Venice. And Sam, I thought was great, and I think he's around over Christmas because obviously Saundersfoot man, isn't he? And that was a really good interview featuring someone who was achieving international success and so proud to be flying that Pembrokeshire flag as well.
Yeah, and almost my favourite moment was having him interview on the show, hearing about him mixing with the likes of Tom Brady. I think Didier Drogba was mentioned. I believe
Will Smith.
You know, this international title, this global superstardom. And then a week or two later, I checked Comet for a game in Division 3, and he had a last-minute assist for Saundersfoot Sports in their draw with Goodwick United second. So hasn't forgotten his roots. And I thought the difference, the contrast in occasion, and people you're surrounded by, I don't mean that offensive anyway, but were superb. So good to see him still coming back and playing local sport.
Yeah, excellent stuff. So we've had some really good moments. Who do we have on that broke Gordon's nose as well in his final football match?
Ricky Morgan, yeah. Never forget.
Gordon's final game of football, I think.
That's right, yeah. Ricky of the Denby Aces, who was reflecting on some draft and work, wasn't he? And I think the long course weekend, or maybe Ironman had just passed. But yeah, that was humorous just to hear Gordon get an old grudge out.
He'd been waiting years for that, hadn't he? Yeah, he had indeed. And it has been great as well, covering just some of those events that you mentioned. So Ironman, once again, was a huge success in the county. Things like Long Course Weekend, the event in Neyland that Tom mentioned as well, that the big events continue to come to Pembrokeshire. They have continued to in 2024, and that's great for the county, and we love being at some of those. In terms of some of the national stuff, at the Olympics in Paris and the Paralympic Games were absolutely fantastic. Keely Hodgkinson, quite rightly, I thought was Sports Personality of the Year last Tuesday. And we were on the air, actually, when she won that 800 metres gold. And that was right up there for me with the moments of the year, because it was writing history, wasn't it? It was Olympic history being made for Team GB, and very humble, but some performer, and deserved that gold and deserved Sports Personality of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be one of the iconic memories of this year and British Olympics for years to come, I think. Also, Alex Yee, who was a contender for a selfish point of view, was my main memory of the Olympics, only because I was working on the live blog of the triathlon that morning. And you tend to think very selfishly when you're working on sport and you're live blogging that you just want it wrapped up easily, so you can start preparing your intro and your finish and get it live as soon as possible. Like, for example, when Spurs are 3-0 up against Manchester United, Ben, and you've got an on the whistle report and you think, good, this is sewn up.
Not with
I
us.
actually was already writing about Alex E finishing second that day, and then just that sensational comeback from nowhere to win it. Meant a frantic rewrite, but it's always a memory that'll stick with it. And I think I barely watched it at the time because I was too busy typing and just listening. But when I watched it back, incredible.
Yeah, I listened to that on the radio, so I hadn't quite appreciated till I got in later that night how close it was as he went past him, but also how much work he'd had to do to get himself back into contention. And yeah, I enjoyed hearing his interview at Sports Personality of the Year as well. Tom, any from you? We had Luke Littler as well, didn't we, at the darts, making history, and we'll do so again.
Still is.
Yeah, we're absolutely right, and he will just continue to get bigger and bigger in that sport, won't he?
And the fact he's been consistent, and what can often happen with these younger, like your Radicanus, they come from nowhere and they're excellent, and then they've got to kind of relearn it, whereas he's just staying at the top of his game. He won the Young Sports Personality of the Year and came runner-up in the grown-up one. So it's the interest that he's bringing to the sport of darts is something that Gordon's probably really happy about.
Indeed. One year I will go to Ali Pali to watch the darts. I just think it looks amazing between Christmas and New Year. It looks so much fun. So any more, if you want to give us yours, you can leave us a message on the Facebook page, your favourite sporting memories of 2024. I think we've done a decent job there of just going through some of the Pembrokeshire ones as well, and we definitely look forward to loads more in 2025 on Pure West Sport. We will come back for the final part of tonight's show. We are just going to have a look ahead to some of the things that are going to be going on across the county, because we do have some fundraising stuff happening, some big fundraising action actually in Neyland, which we'll talk about very soon, and also some old boys games as well over the Christmas and New Year period. So we'll have a look at some of those in just a few moments. On this evening's show, it's Pure West Sport.
Eaton-Evans and more